Today I'm going to share 5 pretty dumb mistakes I made as a new course creator, so that if you are an aspiring or new course creator yourself, hopefully we can just have you completely avoid them. Jumping right into it, mistake number 1 that I made was trying to get my course to be too perfect. This is a really common mistake, and it comes from a well-meaning place where I know for me personally and for everyone I see making this mistake, it's because you want to put your best foot forward. You want to make sure that you are delivering on what you promise and that your clients love the quality product that they've paid for. However, here's the problem. There is no such thing as perfect. And when you hold perfect as the standard that you're trying to achieve for your course, you will never reach it. And when that happens, you are going to be stuck working on your course over and over and over. For me, I would stay up until like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning thinking and working on a new course update because I would be like, oh my gosh, I forgot to add this. Let me add it in. And I would do that over and over and over. So that if I pulled in my Dropbox folder to show you, you would see that for my flagship course, my first one, there are 6 massive iterations, not just like tiny updates where I like completely redid everything, the modules, redid the scripts, redid the recordings. And I mean, this is a really massive course. So you can imagine how much time that took. Now, here's the thing. Yes, you should absolutely focus on creating a really high quality product, but that's probably going to be there already within your first 1 or 2 versions. The rest is more about your ego, honestly, than your client's results. Because if you took even a fraction of that time, or if I had taken a fraction of that time that I spent obsessing about creating this perfect course and instead focused on talking more to my clients, coaching my clients more, versus just trying to have them learn everything through the course without talking or getting any support, I would have made a lot more sales. I would have had a lot more fun. And my clients would have had a better experience as well. So don't aim for perfect, aim for good, aim for results driven. But oh my gosh, perfect is like the P word. So don't aim for it. So that is mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 I made was assuming that everyone thought the same way I did when it came to the thing that I was teaching. So for me, I'm a business coach. My courses teach some aspect of growing your business. And I just assumed that people were all like me, where they all loved numbers. They loved thinking in a really like methodical way, and that the way I had done something exactly would be exactly the way that someone else would want to do it. And because of that kind of trickled down through my course in a few ways. First of all, some of the things that I shared when it came to tracking and analyzing certain things felt really overwhelming to a lot of my clients who weren't as big lovers of the numbers as I am. Let's put it that way. And the instructions that I had thought were so clear for measuring certain things, people would come back and be like, Luisa, what is this? I'm so confused. Can you please explain it in more detail? And they would feel like they weren't getting the value that they had been promised because of that. Not because the value wasn't there, but because it just wasn't connecting with them. Another way that happened was because I assumed everyone would want to do the steps the way that I had done them, which made sense to me, but looking back, I can see how they might not have made sense to a lot of people. So to give you a specific example, when I was creating my course, I taught the step-by-steps in the order that I had done them. So my first course, I was teaching how do you build a profitable coaching business. And I taught to get clients first and how to do that before setting up your website. However, what I didn't realize was that just so many of my clients who went through the course just did not feel comfortable not having a website to share with people. And even though they understood the logic, I don't know why I just did quotes, they did understand the logic of why they didn't need a website, they just wanted to have it because they wanted to seem professional. And since they were going to put it up anyways, what I could have done, and I actually ended up doing eventually, was to move that module earlier so that people could just get their website out of the way, have that off, and have that peace of mind so that they could go out and start getting clients and know that, okay, if that client wanted to see their website, even though they didn't need to, that they would be able to have that. So taking a little bit step back and understanding, yes, you are good at whatever it is you're teaching, of course, but learning to teach it is a completely new skill, and not all your clients are going to think the same way you do. In fact, a lot of them probably aren't, because they're looking to learn from someone who has strengths where they have weaknesses. So it's going to be a little bit different for them learning and going through the process than it was for you. Keeping that in mind. Mistake number 3 that I made was, my gosh, I mean, there's a fine line here. Let me just caveat. So a common piece of advice I give when growing your business, when creating a course, is to move quickly. You don't need to wait for months or for years making things perfect before you can go out there and sell your product. That being said, it is also possible to sell too fast, which is the mistake that I made. And the reason is because I have an idea. When I get an idea, I get so excited about it. I want to just go out there and take action. I also know money loves speed. I love speed. When I'm excited about something is when I want to do it, because otherwise I'm going to lose my interest and move on to something else. That being said, you can do it too quickly. So what I did early on was I would get an idea that I wanted to do for the course. And then I would get an idea for a bonus that I wanted to add. And again, this came from a good place. I wanted to give as much value as possible. And I wanted to give my clients everything they needed and more in one place to get the results. So I would think of a bonus that I was going to include in the program and get really excited about it. It was going to be really valuable. And then what happened, and this only happened once or twice because I learned my lesson, was I promised this amazing bonus, and then I would think it through and I would be like, you know what? As I'm finishing this program, I actually want people to just have this, whether or not they get it as a bonus in the future. So I want to make it just a tangible part of the program so that everyone gets it moving forward. And in my mind, I thought, you know what? That's going to be totally fine. People who've already paid, they were getting it anyway. What do they care if I call it a bonus or a core module of the program? Boy, was I wrong. When I told people who had already purchased the program at that time that the bonus that I had promised was going to be a core module moving forward, some people were really upset. And I remember one specific woman said, wow, I've never heard of a bonus being turned into a core module of the program before. Looking back, I can see where they were coming from, where they were probably thinking, okay, now it doesn't feel like a bonus anymore. It feels kind of like we were promised this bonus and now it's not going to be a bonus. And so this doesn't feel right. And it just had been established in their mind. For me, I was thinking, you're going to get this content anyway. I want to just add it into the future, in the program for the future, so that all my future clients get it, so everyone gets the most value, and it shouldn't matter. But because of that expectation that had been set, people felt like, okay, this is not what I expected, which is just as important as getting the content itself. And so I would say in that case, if I had just taken, honestly, an extra day or two to think through, okay, do I want to position this as a bonus, or should it actually be something that I add in as a core module before I go out there and market it and talk about it? That would have saved me from a lot of extra communication and a few ruffled feathers with my clients who felt like, okay, were you kind of already planning this before, without realizing that, no, I was just moving fast and I was just excited. So that is the third mistake that I made. The fourth mistake is a really common one that I see as well. And, you know, it caused me to do some things that, looking back, I would not do again. And again, this came from a place of wanting to help everyone. And that mistake was actually thinking that I could help everyone. So the problem here is that you can only help people as much as they are willing to be helped. So if someone is thinking that your stuff is not going to help them and they've already made that decision going into your program, or they're kind of in an, I don't want to say arrogant mindset, but in a mindset where they're thinking that they know so much, even though they don't have the results that they want, that any information they get, they're just going to feel like, okay, I've already done this, I've already tried it, and I'm not even going to bother. Pretty sure you've met someone like that before, so you probably know what I'm talking about, where it doesn't matter how good the content is, they are just not yet ready to receive it or use it. Or when someone is so much in their fear, right? They're thinking, oh my God, I don't know if this is possible. I don't know if I can do this, or if this will work, or I don't trust this person enough. And so again, they're so busy thinking these thoughts that it doesn't matter how good the content is, they're not gonna be able to use it. I didn't realize this early on, and I thought, okay, anyone who wants to, so for my first course, build an online coaching business, I'm gonna be able to help you. Anyone, and then for my other courses, I would think the same thing. And so when someone would email in and say, you know what, I don't think this course is gonna work for me, and this is just not what I expected, or when someone would email and say, okay, this is just too basic, I'm not happy with this course. Honestly, first, it would really hurt my feelings because I didn't understand what I just shared with you. Back then, I thought it was just, oh my God, it's a reflection on me. Of course, you need to create a high quality product, but I absolutely had that. And so I would actually respond back to that person, and I would say, and I would spend like 15, 20 minutes sharing a very detailed response, doing some coaching as well, where I would say, hey, look, I went over your website, your current business situation, and actually, this is not too basic for you. I know it can feel like that, but in truth, it's the fundamental principles and doing it right that's going to make the difference. And I reviewed your welcome questionnaire. I know you're not where you want to be. Here's why. And you know what? 100% of the time, none of those people responded to me. I put all this heart into it, and afterwards I would just feel so stupid, and like I was, I don't know, like I was trying to be desperate or something when I wasn't. I was just really believing I could help them and not realizing that it's not just about you being able to help someone. They have to be willing to receive that help and ready to receive it, more than willing. And you know what I should have realized, or what I took some time and I'm passing on to you, so hopefully you're gonna skip all of that, is that yes, you can help so many people, but you can only help someone as far as they are willing to be helped. And so what you're gonna learn is to recognize the signs of someone who wants to be helped, who is open to learning and realizing, no matter what I was doing before, it wasn't working, so I'm gonna be humble, I'm gonna learn, and I'm gonna make it work, versus any of the mindsets that I mentioned earlier where they might change in the future, but at that point in time, they're just not ready and they're not gonna be ideal clients. And so if you can, I would just avoid even selling to them, frankly. So that's mistake number 4. Mistake number 5, which I kind of goes against the grain for a lot of what we are taught in terms of give lots of value, overpromise, and overdeliver. I have a slightly different opinion, and I'll explain in a second. But that mistake I made was overpromising too much. So I want to caveat, this does not mean that you don't over deliver and create amazing value and make sure your clients are so happy with their investment. But there is a thing as over promising too much. I would kind of get carried away because I would really believe it. And whatever I promised, I absolutely delivered on. So I want to make that clear. But when I was selling my programs, I would believe in them so much and I would want to give so much that I basically, for a group program, promised the same level of support and attention and detail that people normally get in much more private, handheld, like private coaching. And I would say, no matter how small the course was, no matter the investment, I would basically promise exactly what I would be giving to a private client who was paying like 10 times more. And I would say, we're going to review all of your content. We are going to go in detail over every single piece of your business. Every question that you ask, I'm going to, review in detail and answer with like a whole essay. I'm giving you examples so that you can see what I mean. It wasn't like I wasn't delivering on what I promised, or I'm saying to not deliver on and not give incredible value, but I think you can see that I was kind of over promising and over delivering too much. If a client in a group program asks you a question, you can answer that question and they can get everything they need without you kind of writing out like a 10-paragraph essay to them. Let me just put it that way. You can help a client get results without basically treating them as a private client and like reviewing every single thing, hand-holding them through everything. That's just not necessary. And frankly, it's not fair to you or your clients who are paying you for that. So I know why I did it. I did it because I wanted to help people. I was still figuring out how to help people in a group setting. I was figuring out my own boundaries. And honestly, I wasn't as confident in the value I was delivering in my course or program as I am now, so that I felt like I had to overpromise to be able to make sales. And so for all of those reasons, what I would recommend is to instead set some clear boundaries for what you're going to do that's absolutely going to have you over delivering, but not to the point of burning yourself out, not to the point of feeling like you let people take advantage of you, even though it's not their fault. It's on you on me for over promising and kind of doing it out of fear. And then aside, if you don't do that, you can still over deliver and surprise and delight people without feeling like, oh my gosh, I promise I have to do this, and like feeling that stress and pressure every second, which just leads to so many negative memories and pressure, and it's completely unnecessary. So figure out what that fine line is for you, how you can over deliver without crossing that line into crazy over delivery, and stick with it. So those are the top 5 mistakes that I made as a new course creator, and I'm hoping that this will help you avoid a lot of these mistakes as well and save you a lot of lost time, money, and just overwhelm. Now, if you are in that place where you are wanting to sell or make more sales of your course, I think you're really going to love the next video that I have for you as well, which is a breakdown, the behind the scenes of how I made $8,000 from selling my first ever course in just a few weeks. So if you want to learn that strategy, go ahead and watch this video, and I will see you there.